hello and welcome. If you are new, hello, my name is Andrea. Thank you for joining us. If you're returning, hello, welcome back. Let's get into it. Okay. No, but for real. So I just want to start real quick because I feel like in my last video, the introduction video, right? Okay. I feel like I didn't preface enough that this channel is for you to be educated, but it's also to not to be educated, back up, okay, to get some extra knowledge. While it's for you to get some extra knowledge, I also really love history and don't have many people to talk to about it. So I really want this channel to be a community. Okay, I want to have these conversations. If you know something that I didn't talk about in this video, or if you know something that, I don't know, please put it in the comments. Okay, like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it because, like I said, I want this to be a community. Okay, I want to find my people. All right, that's what this is for, to find my people, because I ain't got no history people, okay, in my circle. I don't. So that's what this is for. All right. That's what the goal is. That's what we're going for. It's giving find your soul tribe, okay, that love history. All right, cool. So yeah, make sure you leave comments, please. Like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. If you learned something, drop that in the comments too, okay? And I know I keep saying comment. Again, it's just because I want to have a conversation. Okay, it's not, I don't want to be one-sided conversation where it's just me dropping videos every week and y'all just watch it and move on, or just, don't even watch it, click on it and then move on. All right, like, I want to have a conversation. And if you do click on it and it ain't for you, please move on. Don't sit around for the sake of me. Okay, because like I said, this is for my people. This is to have a conversation. If this doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. No hard feelings. Love you. That's it. Cool. Right? Okay. Just wanted to preface that. And if you see me looking down a lot, it's because I have these handy dandy notes. Okay? All right. Because I want to make sure that I'm giving y'all the real tea. Okay? We having real conversations on real stuff. And there's a lot of dates. Okay? There's a lot of names. There's a lot of movements. And I don't want to mix anything up. So yeah, if you see me looking down, it's my cards. Great. Glad we could talk about that. So anyways, this week, now we can finally get into it. This week, okay, we're talking about the lost colony of Roanoke. Yes, I have my little tabs. You're going to see me looking at that too, because baby, trying to get y'all all of the education that I can. All right. And I want it to be accurate. Got it? Cool. All right. So like I said, the lost colony of Roanoke, right? So this takes place about late 16th century English colonists. All right, that's who we're covering. Went missing over 100 people gone. Right? Where did they go? I think I solved the mystery, but who am I? Okay, I'm just a girl on the internet. Anyways, right? So these are English colonists. So at this time, the late 16th century, it is essentially a race, all right? A race to spread your countrymen. Okay, that's what we're going to go with. So basically, Spain, boom, rushing to get to the New World, right? Because this was already discovered. And now everybody, all these other European countries, want a piece of this new world. They want to lay their roots down and spread their influence. Spain is on it. Okay, they doing real well in this race. Okay, they have their like Florida, okay, Cuba, Mexico, all of these southern areas, right? So they've already laid their roots there, and they holding strong. France got Canada, even though it wasn't called Canada back then. I think it was New France. I didn't take a note on that. So somebody look that up. Let me know. We're going to talk about it later. Yeah. So England is like, well, men in England are like, we need to get in on this. Queen Elizabeth is like, no, not interested. Until, all right, Mr. Sir Riley, Walter Riley, approaches her, and he's her favorite. Okay, he's 6 foot. He dresses nice. He smells good. Okay, he's handsome. He got money. She's like, oh, I like you, right? So he approaches her, and he's like, baby, look. This is my take on it. Okay, this is what I think happened. Now, I don't know how he really approached her. I don't know how they talked back then. All right, but in my head, this is how it went when I'm reading these books. Okay, he's like, baby, look, great opportunities. Look, everybody's gonna remember your name. Okay, Queen Elizabeth the First, baby. Let's do it. Let's put you down in history books. Okay, we're gonna get you solidified. You already the queen. You gonna have the new world too, boo. And she was like, I mean, like, he fine or whatever, so I'm gonna listen. And she did. Okay, so she was like, got you, right? So she went ahead and sent some scouts out. Okay, she sent 32 scouts. 32 scouts. Out, right? Cool. They get out there. Mind you, they ended up in Virginia, current Virginia, okay, because back then Virginia was also North Carolina, but they ended up in current Virginia, Chesapeake Bay area. And they report back, right, to the queen. And they're like, hands down, we gotta go. Like, the people out there, so friendly, okay? Like, the crops, the ground, perfect for crops. We could take over. Okay, we growing everything out there. Like it's just a beautiful place, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna find you because I believe they said, if I'm not mistaken, yes, the land better than the Garden of Eden. That's what they had to say about Chesapeake Bay. All right. Treasure, Indians wore headdresses made of solid gold. This is what they told the queen. So the queen gets to thinking, she's like, okay, money, okay, gold. We're going to get to some money. We're going to get to some crops. We're going to get to all of the good stuff. That's what I like to hear. All right. So that's exactly what she did, was like, guess what? Guess what, Sir Riley? Give me some English people out there. Okay. So he did. All right. He sent some people out there. And he sent them in 1585. Right. So he sent 7 ships of 500 men and 2 dogs. Don't understand the 2 dogs, but he sent 500 men and 2 dogs. And baby, let me tell you, when the 32 scouts went, they had a time. Okay. They were treated to all of like luxuries. Okay. They were undressed by the native women, bathed and redressed before they were fed a welcome meal. Okay. They were treated to the luxuries of life. These 500 men came, baby, everything went out the window. No, it was literally like, just, I don't want to cuss because I don't know YouTube's rules yet, but like they was darned. Okay, darned if you do, darned if you don't. Yeah, they was just darned. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So let me go ahead and tell you why they were darned. Okay. They get there. Let me make sure I find you the correct information, right? Because baby. So they were there for 7 weeks, right? Trying to figure out their way of life. And when they get there, there's an accident that happens with their ship. Water takes over the boat, okay? Soils their food, things of that nature. Great. Not great, but So they get to shore or whatever. They're there. 7 weeks go by. They're running out of supplies. They're like, what are we going to do? We need to eat and we need supplies, because if we don't have food, then at least maybe if we have some extra supplies, we can start planting our own, growing something, hunting, whatever the case may be. So, hey, look, we need supplies. Okay. So they tell Sir Richard Grenville, go back. Go back to England, get some food, come back. Okay, we'll be here. Where else are we gonna go? So they do. So he leaves or whatever, right? And when he leaves, I don't know what happens with these men that stayed, but mentally, I'm not gonna say mentally, these men just went crazy, right? They just decide that they're gonna have their way. And have their way they did. Okay. All right. So they basically decided to break up, right? And send one group and a search party to go look for like copper. Okay. The second group they send to the Chesapeake Bay to go, scout the area, like the scouts previously did on the other mission, right? So the ones that went up to Chesapeake Bay had a time. Okay. The Chesapeake Bay just seems to be a time. Okay. They get there, they stay most of winter. They're welcomed. Okay. They get fed, they get shelter, they get to meet these friendly Indian people. I shouldn't say Indian, should I? Native people. Okay. Sorry. So they met Native people, had a time there. So the first group, right, that went looking for copper mines wasn't having any luck, right? So they're like, shoot. Again, I don't know how cussing works on YouTube. They're like, shoot, what do we do? Okay. And as most colonists do, okay, because they're never really quite nice, okay, they go find some Indians and they're like, look, do you know where the copper is? Like, don't play with us. And the chief is like, yes, I do. However, where it is, takes a 3-day boat tour basically up this river. And once you get there, it's 4 more days of walking to get to where the copper is. And the leader of the first group is like, I don't know if I believe you. Like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know you, and you don't know me. So who's to say that you're really being honest? I could leave here, get 7 days into this journey, and it all be some BS. And now what? So he had this great idea that he was gonna kidnap the Native Americans' oldest son, right? So he's like, got it. Know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kidnap him, take him with me, and we could just make sure all of this is legit, right? So he kidnaps him. The son tries to run away. Like, they handcuffed him. The son tried to run away. So then once he tries to run away, they're like, So then they wrap iron around his legs. Okay. They continue on this journey. They have a little bit of copper with them. That's what they used as like money, right? So they had a little bit of copper with them. And they're like, people we come across, like, we'll just offer them money. They'll feed us and we can continue on our journey. But no, okay. The further they got into this new world, people were scarce, okay? They didn't come across anybody. So they got real hungry. And, started trying to eat leaves. Did the leaves work? No, they didn't. So then they were like, bet. We got 2 dogs. We're going to eat the dog food, right? Ate the dog food. They were still hungry. Because what is dog food, right? For all of these men. So then, as one thinks, they're like, F it. Like, we're just going to eat the dogs. So they ate the dogs. I'm laughing because that's not funny, but like, I've also never been starving. So maybe that is the thought process of someone that is starving. I'm grateful that I've never had to experience that. Anyways, yeah, so they ate the dogs. And then they're like, now what? We're going to go home. So they turn around after this long journey, turn around, go home. Okay. Roanoke. They go back to Roanoke. Right? They get there thinking that, like, the captain that they sent off to go back to England to get supplies, they're like, surely We've been searching for all this copper. We've been on the move. We done kidnapped the chief's son. Like, we done ate the dogs. Like, all this time has passed. This man got to be back, right? So we gonna go home. He gonna be there. We gonna eat, have our supplies. Stuff's gonna be sweet. Nope, man still won't there. No, he still wasn't there. However, there were some passing boats or ships, and they were like, "Ooh, maybe this is our people." But then they got scared because they're like, "Maybe this is some of Spain's people, and they're gonna kill us, right?" Because Spain had ships cruising the seas looking for other people that were not Spanish people to kill them because they felt like that was their land. And who are you to be on my land, right? So they got scared. They're like, "Oh, maybe this is some Spanish people," but it wasn't. Okay, but it wasn't their guy, but it was somebody else, another Englishman. Can't find his name right now, but yeah, we'll circle back. So they see him, right, and he's like, "I mean, I got some supplies, but like, I don't know how long it's gonna last you. So do you want the supplies, or do you want me to just take you back to England with me?" And he's like, "No," like the leader of this group of men that are on Roanoke, right? He's like, "No, no, we're good. We need to make it to Chesapeake Bay. That's where the other half of the group is, right? They say it's lit. We got to get there. So no, just give us some supplies. We're gonna go to Chesapeake Bay, and that's the end of it, right?" So he's like, "All right, cool, I got you." Also, right? So when they came back from looking for copper and couldn't find any and ate the dogs, right? They get back hoping like, hopefully our captain is here and he has supplies, and he doesn't, right? I mean, he's not there. They also find that all of the tribes nearby have poof disappeared. So he's like, the leader. It's like, what happened? What happened to all of the Indians? Like, now what are we going to do? Because we can't really survive without them. Shocker. This is their land. Anyways. So what are we going to do? We can't find them. So then, in long story short, right, he comes to find out that one of the head chiefs orders all of the other Indians to leave the area, starve the English out. Either starve the English out, or we're going to kill the English because they just frankly doing too much. So the leader of the English, the 500 men that are still there, is like, "Bet, we gonna kill y'all." As one tends to think, I guess. I don't really know. So they're like, "We're gonna wait till nighttime. We're gonna go storm their fort, right? The Indians' fort, and kill them all." Mind you, it's dark. So they're like, "Well, how we know we ain't gonna be shooting each other?" So they're like, "Cool. Your long white shirt that you tuck into your pants, pull it out in the back. Pull it out. So we know if we see like white flapping, I know that you with me, you on my team, and I'm not gonna shoot you." Right? So that's what they decide to do. And they essentially win. Okay? They kill all of the Native Americans, and most importantly, they kill the chief of this tribe. And none of the English are hurt. Okay? Great. Not great, you know. However, it starts to storm. Okay? Real bad storm, like bad storm. Okay? Like hurricane almost. Not for sure if it was a hurricane, but hurricane like storm. And all of his men are like, "Crap, we going back to England. Like, I don't even want to stay here. They got these different types of storms. We ain't got no food. He about to give us some supplies, but who's going to, like, how do we know when our captain going to be back, with the other supplies? So we just going to sit here and wait?" Nah. Mm-mm. So they went back. They went back to England, not knowing whole time, right, that their captain is on his way back. Okay. Yeah. So he arrives. He shows up and ain't nobody there. Right? Okay. So he comes back, their captain, who left for supplies. He comes back and he's like, where is everybody? Like, what happened? So he stays for 2 weeks. He's trying to figure out what happened. He's asking, other Native Americans in the area, have you seen my English men? Like, does anybody know what happened? Because 500 men ain't no way they just disappeared. So he asks around, and he finds out that his men got scared of a storm and went home. And he's disappointed. He's like, what? What? Y'all grown men scared of a storm. So he tells the people that he brought back with him with the supplies, 15 men, he's like, look, y'all stay here. Okay, I'm about to go back to England, get these fools straight. Okay, and I'm going to be back. So 15 men, y'all stay here. Hold the fort down. Okay, make sure don't nobody come and take what's ours because we got here first. You move your feet, you lose your seat. So he was like, nah, y'all stay here. Okay, thank you. And they stayed. And he went on. He went on back to England about his merry way, right? Okay. These 15 men must have been sipping the same Kool-Aid that the other 500 was sipping because they just started doing stuff too that ain't make no sense. Like, what are you doing? You're in a land that you don't know nobody in here, okay? Who let you in the club? You don't know anybody in here. You don't know how things work over here. You don't know nothing. You don't even know these people's language. You don't know what's being said about you in front of your face. And you won't get in here and act a fool. Anyway, let me tell y'all what happened, right? So these 15 men that's there to hold the fort down for England. Make sure don't nobody come and take their land that they've staked out. Welcome to the USA. No. Right? Okay, cool. So these 15 men, they're there, chilling, having a time, right? They decide to go to dinner, right? Cool. Hold on. Let me find it for you. When he left, right, their captain, Captain Greenville. Oh, I'm sorry, Sir Richard Greenville, who left them and went back for supplies and came back and found out they were gone. And he left those 15 men behind. Mind you, these 15 men don't know that their comrades were literally here a couple weeks ago and wiped out an entire Native American tribe. Right? They don't know that they kidnapped a chiefsman's son. Right? They don't know these things. So they're just like, all right, cool. The whole time, like, no, sir, it's not cool. Okay, you about to get got. And y'all don't even know. Y'all might be having to pay the price for somebody else. Y'all don't know. Mm, mm. Couldn't be me. That's all I got to say. So he left them 15. Left them and went on back to England. Right? When he gets back to England, the captain, there's another boat. There's more boats, actually, right? Getting ready to set sail back to America. This time, we're not bringing just men, okay? Bringing men, women, children. These are going to be the people that really colonize America, okay? They're coming to stay. They've paid money into this trip. They are expecting to be on a council when they arrive to Virginia. Um, they're expecting 500 acres, right? So whoever paid money to go on this trip, this dangerous trip, because traveling back then was hit or miss, okay? They paid money on this trip with a promise of when you get there, you will receive 500 acres of land, be a council member, right, with the governor, who is John White. Um, and yeah, you're just promised a new life, really. Okay, and you're gonna be in the history books. Okay, so another boat is getting ready, or more boats are getting ready to set sail for the new world, right? And this was in 1587. So these boats were given instructions that, hey, on your way to the Chesapeake Bay to start this colony, swing by Roanoke and grab the 15 men that I left, right, to hold the fort down there. Just grab them on your way. Just pick them up on your way. Um, and they were like, cool, got it. No worries. Right. Okay. So on this journey, basically it was a lot of things going wrong that weren't supposed to be going wrong. Okay. Like I don't want this to be honest with you, this story has a lot of twists and turns, and I'm really doing y'all a disservice by not giving y'all the nitty gritty of it. But just know that for time purposes, I couldn't do it. Okay. Okay. But basically what it sounds like is the captain of this ship, Ferdinand's, I can't pronounce it. Simon Ferdinand's. If I'm wrong, let me know. Or at least how you pronounce it, right? So he was doing a lot of whatever it is he wanted to do. Okay. The plan was hit these islands, grab some fruit trees, hit this island, get some sugar, okay, some spices and stuff, hit Roanoke, grab up our people, head to the Chesapeake Bay. He was doing a lot of, nah, we ain't gonna do that. I don't feel like stopping, or we're gonna stop, but then when we stop, we're gonna take longer than I needed to. Oh, and by the way, my cousin that I said was here with the fruit trees, I don't know where he at. So yeah, and so then they get to Roanoke where they think they're about to go pick up their people and continue on to the Chesapeake Bay. Again, the captain is like, nah, nah, this is as far as we go. So yeah, just get comfortable. This is where we're at. And they're like, huh? But what can they do? What can they do, right? John White is the governor. However, he is only allowed to be the governor on land. So when they're out to sea, when they're on this boat, he ain't got no say so. He's just a regular passenger. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Okay. You are now free to move about the cabin. Yeah. So, they have to adapt, I guess, the best they could. Like, yeah, we just got to do what we can do, and what we can't do, we can't do. That was their thought process. So, right, they're basically settling down, they're adapting, they're trying to find these 15 people, right, that was left behind on a previous voyage. They found the bones of one. That was it. They couldn't find anybody else. But one of their men that came with them was out fishing in the water, right? He had a shirt off, and he has a looks like a trident, okay? And he's using it to fish. And he gets shot 16 times. 16 times by Native Americans. He gets shot with arrows, and then he has his head beaten in. So then, the governor, John White, is like, excuse me. He reaches out to some other Native Americans. He's like, excuse me, can somebody explain to me what is happening here? Because what? I heard y'all were friendly. This ain't friendly. Okay. And so they're like, yeah, we did it. And like what and what, right? So that's essentially, they're like, okay, so can anybody tell us what happened to the other? We found the bones of one of the 15. Can anybody tell us what happened to the rest of the people? So they find an Indian leader that's like, yeah, he got killed. And the 14th, I didn't see anything specifically as to like what happened to a 14th one, right? But they said that 13 of them fled on these little boats that they had and fled to go back to England. Now, whether they ever made it or not, I couldn't find anything that said if they did or if they didn't make it, right? But that is the only thing that they know of these 15 men that were left. One person's bones, 14th gone, who knows? And the other 13 on a boat fled, right? So, I mean, really, who's to be shocked? Like, I wouldn't. My first instinct, right? If I'm being dropped off on an island where I know no one, or not even what they're speaking of, barely can survive on my own, And then these Indians started tagging me, baby. I'm about to leave too. I'm about to get on the boat. At this point, I don't care. Let the Lord have his way with me. Let him be a fence and guide me back to England. I'm gonna take my chances. I'm not about to stay here and get killed knowingly, like just let them do what they want. No, I would fled too. So, shout out to them. They were smart. They were smart. They weren't the person in the scary movie that's like, oh, what was that? Let's go look. They weren't that. They were smart. Okay. I'm here for it. Right. So, anywho, the colonists, right, now that they found out about these men, and they're like basically at peace now. They're like, okay, we're not gonna find them. So again, we need to adapt. We need to figure out what we can do. They start setting up a fort, right? Building homes and such. And they're like, wow, like we are really struggling out here. Just like all the other, I don't know. I don't know what these people thought because I just feel like everybody that went struggled. Like I feel like we should have put out a poster or a bulletin board and like, hey, Roanoke Island is a struggle. I don't know. They just kept going. So, whatever. So they're struggling, right? They have a lack of supplies because Captain Simon Ferdinand's just kept skipping stuff. And then his cousin was missing. And then they didn't get the things that they needed. So they're really struggling supply wise, right? Not only are they struggling supply wise, but the previous voyages have now led the Native Americans to not really F with them like that. So now they struggling because there's tension between the Native Americans. They don't really have the supplies like that. The soil isn't good soil to farm, right? Because it's an island. So it's like sandy, grainy type soil. They're supposed to be in Chesapeake Bay where the soil is supposed to be fertile and well and good. They weren't planning for this. So they were really they started off bad. Okay. They real down bad right now. So yeah, so basically 12 men, they go to their governor, John White, and they're like, hey, look, you trying to go back to England and like get some supplies? And he's like, no, what do I look like leaving what has been left to me? My fort. I was given this opportunity, this chance to start anew on a new world. What do I look like going back already and being like, hey, need some more stuff? He's like, no, I'm not doing it. And so the 12 men that approached him are like, all right. They beg and plead. He's like, no. So they're like, okay. So they leave. They come back the next day. This time, they don't come back with the 12 men. They come back with everyone, men, women, children. And they're like, please, please. They're like, we will write you a letter. Like, we will write a letter collectively and say, look, we asked him, we begged him to go and get supplies. He's not abandoning his people. He's not abandoning the new world. We just need him to go and get some supplies, and they all endorse it and sign it. And reluctantly, he's like, fine, I'll go. Right. However, one of the main reasons he didn't want to go also was because he didn't want to leave behind his family. Okay. His daughter's husband, well, his son in law, right. And his newborn granddaughter. So, little side note, the very first English person to be born on American soil was a baby girl on, hold on, August. Y'all, I got a lot of notes, okay? Okay. Found it. To be born on August 18th, 1587. A little baby girl, and her name was Virginia Dare. So cute. However, we don't know what happened to her because she was amongst the people that went missing, right? So yeah, but that's just a little side note. Did you know? And she even had, not her personally, but like they named a brand of tobacco after her. Once all of the English people came and decided to colonize Virginia and have all of these tobacco fields and stuff. Yeah, they had a tobacco company named after her, Virginia Dare. Um, just a little did you know type moment. Okay. So, anywho, right? So he's like, cool, I'll leave. It's fine. Fine. I'll go. Right? So then he's like, but what if I come back and y'all not here? Like, what if something happens? What if, right? Like, what if something happens? What if y'all have to move? What do we do? So they come up with a system, right? And they're like, if we have to move, we'll carve where we're going in a tree. And he's like, great. How will I know if y'all are in danger or not? They're like, got you. If we are in danger, we'll put a cross above the name. So you know that's where we are. We are in danger. Hurry up. Okay, bring reinforcements. If it's just the name, though, with no cross, we're not in danger. We're not in any danger. We're safe. We're good. He's like, all right, cool. Got you. So I'm moving my little cards over here. Okay, when I'm done with them, don't judge me. I'm doing all this. I'm not dancing. Okay. Okay. Anywho, right? So he makes it to England. John White. He leaves. He goes to England to ask for supplies and help. Why does man get there and couldn't leave? Yeah, because England decided, that we gonna have a war. So England and Spain, they were in a war. Spain had a very powerful navy. So Queen Elizabeth is like, look, they got a powerful navy. I need all my boats here. Like I need my boats to defend us. Yeah, and also at the time, England was like a little, I don't want to say a little puny country, but like they weren't powerful like Spain. Okay, so she's like, nah, I need all my boats here to defend and fight. So he's like, shit. So he couldn't leave, right? So he's still there, patiently waiting for 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. Yeah. So by the time he would have got back and saw his granddaughter, she would have been 3. Potty trained and all that. He missed her whole childhood. But, he still was like, I got to get back. I got to get back. I left all of these people, not even just my daughter and my granddaughter, but I've left all of these people. They were supposed to be in my care, and I left them there. So he's fighting. He gets back 3 years, 1590. He returns, right? Everybody gone. Everything is gone. The colony is gone. No bodies. Mm-mm. Nope. No sign of struggle. Mm-mm. Nope. Not even any buildings. The buildings are gone. The nails used for the buildings, gone. Gone. Literally, the only thing that's left are the posts that made up the fence around the outside of their fort. It's gone. That's the only thing that's left. I mean, so he's like, what? 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 So he's searching, and he finds a tree. Right? It has CRO. Boom. Okay. CRO. And he's like, okay. He's like, but there's no cross. So wherever they went, they're not in danger. Cool. Continue searching. Right? Then he finds another post with the whole word CROATOAN on it. So he's like, bet. One of my homies pulls weight with that tribe, with the CROATOAN. Okay, he's talking about Manteo. I hope I said his name right. But he was a Native American. He's been to England a couple times. He learned how to speak English. He's even the first Native American documented that was converted over to Christianity. So he's like, babe, my homie is good over there. So, and again, there's no cross. So he's like, they're safe, they're good, great, great. So he's like, bet tomorrow we gonna go because it's late. He's like, we gonna go. These people, I don't know what it is. They be traveling real late. I don't know. Anyways, so he's like, it's late. We gonna go tomorrow. They're waiting to go. They're getting this stuff ready, whatever. Set sail again. Hurricane hits. Hurricane hits. John White just don't have no type of good luck. I ain't gonna lie. Nobody in this story seems to have any type of good luck. Like, it sounds like there's been a whole lot of foolery since the beginning. That's just my personal opinion. That's what But let me know if y'all feel like there's a lot of foolery too, right? So, anyways, he can't get there. He has to make the tough decision because, like, while they're like sitting out in the water during this hurricane, their anchors break off. So they're like, bro, even if we can get to Croatan, that if we can get there, we're not going to be able to like stay, because we can't anchor. Like we just gonna be floating by. So they're like, we got to get back to England. Like that's just what we got to do. Or actually, I lied. They did they did have the thought of like, well, maybe we could go down to like some of the southern islands and like how we gonna stop exactly? Nobody knows. So they're like, all right, F it. Like we got to go back to England. He had to make the tough choice to go back to England, and he did. So yeah, nobody knows what happened. The last account of someone being there was her own dad. Was Virginia Dare's grandfather. I mean, and he couldn't find his granddaughter nor his daughter or any of the settlers. They were gone. This was 1590, right? So fast forward to I believe 1607. I believe. Um, Queen Elizabeth dies. Boom. All right, cool. We get a new king. He is King James. King James, yes. And he settles good old Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. And when he has people come and settle, he's like, hey, look, y'all, some of y'all go look for them people down in Roanoke because we ain't never find them. And we gotta find out. Right? So great, got you. John Smith is on it. Y'all know John Smith from Pocahontas? Okay. Right? So he sends some people to go look. John Smith. And John Smith comes across the leader of the Powhatan tribe. And the leader of the Powhatan tribe is like, yeah, we know your people. I had them all killed. Like, mass murder, okay? I did that. So, just so you know, matter of fact, you know what? Let me take you and show you the weapons that we used to kill him. Give me a minute. Yeah, that's what happened. And John White is like, whoa. I'm sorry, not John White, John Smith. It's like, whoa, hold on now, right? So that's one theory. It was told to us by a Native American of the time. Were they really killed in a mass murder spree? Right? It's plausible, definitely plausible. Like, why not? After all of the killing that happened from prior English people that came and decided that they wanted to have their way, have a time, and kill people, definitely plausible, right? There's lots of other theories. There's lots of other stories. Okay, I'm gonna just put them all out there. I know which one I believe or have a strong inkling towards. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all know though, right? Okay, so mass murder, right? We have integration with the natives. So there's not some, there's a tribe, right, in further inland, called the Lumbee tribe. They claim to be descendants of the lost colonists, right? This tribe only speaks English. They don't have like a native tongue that they speak like other Native Americans. They don't have any traditions like other Native Americans. Um, any like traditional songs or native songs, things of that nature, like other Native American tribes have. They also, I believe, they said that they were like a little bit of a lighter complexion. That's a theory, right? Again, plausible, I guess. maybe, right? There's another one of, assimilating with, like, maybe they actually did go to Croatoan, right? And they did just assimilate and live there peacefully. Croatoans themselves, um, or at least some of them, do speak of Native Americans having Native American ancestors as well as white ancestors as well, which let me find. When they were asked if they had ancestors that were white, they replied with, yes, we had ancestors who dressed like you, and like you, they could make books speak, aka they could read, right? So this is John Lawson who has approached them and asked them, like, this is another Englishman, okay, trying to find out what happened to Roanoke. Um, there was no specific information about when the colonists had came to Croatan, but right? But John Lawson also did note in his notes that a lot of Croatans also did have gray eyes, which I'm assuming he was associating that with whiteness. So it's a possibility that they could have went and just assimilated at Croatan. And yeah, Croatan said so. The Lumbees said so. Maybe they split up into multiple groups and just went their own different directions. No, you tell me, right? There's another theory that, like I said earlier, right, the Spanish boats that would just go up and down the water, right, looking, looking, looking for anybody that wanted to come on their land. No, 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 right? There's a theory that they were passing by, saw some Englishmen on the beach, killed them, right? So Spanish attack. There's no evidence for this, but it's a theory. I'm just giving y'all options here. Okay, multiple choice tests. The other theory was that they moved inland, right? So there's theories for this because of number one, the Lumbee tribe, which was more inland, and number two, right, the large stones that were found. You'll see why I do the air quotes in a minute, right? Okay. So in 1937, a grocer from California takes a trip out to North Carolina. And he just happened to be walking along a swamp out in the middle of nowhere. Not in the middle of nowhere, but in the middle of North Carolina somewhere. And he claims to have found this large stone, yep, that is engraved by, right, Eleanor Dare, who's Virginia Dare's mom. Remember Virginia Dare? First baby girl born on English baby girl born on American land. Okay. Her mom. So actually, Governor John White's daughter. There's a stone that is said to be carved by her, right? And she says her name and her husband's name. And I'm sorry, she says her husband's name and somebody else's name. And she says they went on to heaven in 1591. And there's some other inscriptions down towards the bottom. And this grocer, what's his name? Hammond. A.E. Hammond. He found this stone. He takes it to a university in Atlanta. And he's like, hey, look what I found. And he's like, I got this stone. And they're like, cool. You want $1,000? He's like, yes, I do. Thank you. Took the money, left. That was that. Hammond takes the $1,000 from the university for the stones. And he's like, disappears. Right. And so they're like, we need to verify that this is real. So they contact a scholar, right? Samuel Eliot Morrison. He looks them over. He's like, yeah, this seems to be real. So they're like, all right, great. So then they send it off to some stone cutters. And they're like, could this have been done, using the tools of that time back then? Could they have done this? The stonecutters try it out on their own. They're like, yes, this absolutely could have been completed with the tools that they had back then. So they're like, all right, good. Like, we're feeling good about this. So then they're like, we're going to send it to an Elizabethan, I might have said that wrong, scholar who basically studied Queen Elizabeth history of the time, a scholar on Queen Elizabeth time, how they spoke, how they wrote, things like that. So they sent it off to her, right? She dismissed them entirely. She was like, no, this ain't real. She's like, they're using words that were not commonly used back then. They're writing in Roman Gothic writing. That's not what they wrote in back then. This is fake. This is fake. Fake as a $2 bill, right? So they move on. They're like, well, dang it. So they send out an alert. Hey, anybody, can you find us some more stones? That's what they say. Of course, a bunch of people want to get paid, right? Because they're offering money. They're like, find us stones, we'll pay you. We're gonna solve this mystery. No. More people bring in stones, right? Are they real? I don't know. Who knows, right? So, and you know what's even more crazy? Is in the end, there was a total of 48 stones. Then they asked the man Hammond, who found the first stone, to take them back to find where it was. And he like couldn't particularly remember where it was. Maybe so, maybe not. No. So that was a dead end, right? So on the 48 stones that they found, one of them is said to have all of the colonists were murdered, right? Except for 7. So apparently on this stone, it was written where they were buried. So the professors at this university decided to go buy this plot of land where the graves were supposed to be. No, no graves were found. So, no. You can decide if you think that story of the rocks or the stones is true or not. A lot of historians still go back and forth on this, right? About maybe it is, maybe it's not. One professor said some days he feels like it is legit, and some days he looks at it and he's like, nah, this ain't legit. So, so yeah, archaeologists are still super fascinated by this. Historians are still super fascinated. Historians are still super fascinated by this, and they're just going to continue to look. There's literally still archaeological digs still being done in the Roanoke area to find out what happened. And there's some really fascinating stuff, I gotta say. Like, they have found a good substantial amount of evidence that would say that at least some of them, if not all of the colonists, went to Croatoan. Now, did they stay? I don't know. But there's a good substantial amount of evidence. I wish I could just have a 2-hour episode and just bog your mind down, but I'm not trying to do that. Okay? Yeah, no. So, yeah. What do you think it is? Do you think it's a case of mass murder, like the chief of Powhatan said, or do you think it's just simple survival and assimilation? Like, well, I'm not trying to die, so you want to be my bestie? Like, what do you think it is? Yeah, so just let me know what you think. Like I said, bro, we're trying to have a community here. I'm trying to have a community here. So drop a comment, like, subscribe, do all of the things, right? But more importantly, comment, because I'm trying to find my people. I'm trying to have these conversations. I'm trying to, did you know? Right? Like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to have. Which, by the way, random, did you know? Did you know that nail polish expires? Bro, I had no clue. I'm up there trying to like take my nail polish off, and baby, it won't go nowhere. And I was like, what is happening? Come to find out, bro, nail polish expires. Like, what? Anyways, random, did you know? Anyways, right? So, yeah, like I said, I want a community, guys. So make sure you comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think happened. If there's anything I missed, anything you want to add to the story, please do, because I know I left a lot out due to, like I said, time constraints, right? So, yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about it. Um, I hope that you're leaving this conversation feeling like you got a little bit more knowledge, right? And if you did, please share it with somebody. Spread the knowledge. Because I'm going to tell y'all, like I tell my sons, every morning before school, knowledge is what? Hmm, knowledge is power. Okay? Okay. Love you guys. Bye.